Not every day that we find components within psychology that directly translate into our lives with complete ease. What am I talking about? Which particular psychology applies to us every single day? Well, the most appropriate one that I can think of that you must know about is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Maybe you've heard of it. So, what is Maslow's hierarchy of needs and why would you need to know it? How is it going to help you in life? What is the big deal? Well, it turns out this is like a compass that guides our, shall we say, choices in life. Think about the last major decision you've had to make. What was the driver behind your decision? What motivated you to make that specific decision? I can guarantee you it's going to be one of the items on this list. So who created this particular law? Well, if it didn't give it away in the name, it is Maslow, Abraham Maslow. Now, as with most construction pieces, we start with a foundation, and for all of us, there is a core foundational element, which is essentially our physiological needs. What falls under physiological needs? Great question. Things like shelter, nutrition, clothing, food, and water, to name a few. These are the essential components that we must obtain. Now, what's really cool about this particular pyramid is that it gives us guidance on where our focus lies. If we need to spend our time hunting, foraging, and securing these basic physiological needs, we don't really have the ability to spend our time on other components which would allow us to grow. So this is really important. We need a solid foundation. From that, we can build upon it. Now, the next level is attaining safety. Now, this safety is going to include your personal security, as well as health, as well as your employment. So securing the basic funds and conditions that would allow you to meet the basic requirements in life. So we'll list a few. Now, once we begin to attain these fundamental human needs, we begin to expand our consciousness to other aspects that are maybe a little bit less focused on ourselves. The next level would be that of belonging. Why do we instinctively seek out to belong after we secure these basic essential needs? Well, the next step is about building community. Intrinsically, once we've attained these fundamental rudimentary basics, we seek out our people, we seek out our community. Humans are intrinsically incredibly social creatures, and this is it. We try and find our group, whether it's a social group, social club, family groups, or any other forms of congregational interaction. We intrinsically seek these out, and they're really important for our normal growth. What's the next level? Well, the next level is going to be esteem. Now, esteem broadly speaks for status. This is when we begin to seek credibility from those around us. That's going to help, I guess, build up our ego. Is this all about ego? Kind of. So we're building up our own, shall we say, portfolio and expanding our own existence, particularly focusing on getting approval from those around us. So this could be things like getting recognition for the work we do, getting respect for the input we provide, and perhaps gaining status for the contribution that we make in society. We'll just list a few, including status, recognition, and respect. Now, assuming we've managed to attain that level of functionality, what else could we do? What could possibly be a higher calling to existence than that of gaining approval of those around you? This is where it gets interesting. The highest level is self-actualization. Well, what is self-actualization? Well, that is reaching your full potential. More or less removing the internal need to focus on, I guess, getting approval from those around you, and instead realizing that it doesn't matter so much what people around you think. The core goal that we should have is that of helping other people through the actions that we take. And in this process, somewhere, we will hopefully reach the best version of ourselves. But I really think self-actualization is less about the self and more about others. By reaching our full potential, we're not really going to be too worried about what we are gaining from people, but we're going to be more worried about how we can help other people through what we have attained. So this is Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but the bigger question here is, how is it relevant for you? How does this help you in your daily life? Well, here it is. I'm going to broadly group these into three phases. We'll have phase one, which is essentially trying to find, shall we say, our rudimentary components in life that we must have in order to survive. That means our primary drive in this phase will just be survival, trying to get the basics that we need in order to sustain our survival. Now, phase two gets a bit more advanced because we've got the basics, we're beginning to explore other avenues and we're beginning to see what else we can do in terms of benefiting our community. Maybe it's finding that belonging in your social group. Maybe it's a club, some sort of social interaction. And then there's esteem, trying to gain the approval of those around us to try and build us up. Now, once we've attained these levels, we can finally move into phase 3, which is that of self-actualization, trying to reach our highest possible potential. Now, with the phases out of the way, we can begin to look at how we can actually apply this knowledge in our daily lives to enhance our functioning. Now, the first thing to do, should we do a box? I feel like we'll draw a box, kind of like a canvas, right? You can paint whatever you want to on your canvas. We'll call it notes, but here it is. In this box, we need to place, shall we say, the core aspects of this model and how it translates out into the real world and how it could help us in our daily lives. Well, this is where it gets pretty interesting. I'm just going to list a few ideas. I'm sure you'll come up with others. Now, to just list a few here, we've got goals, motivation, decisions, and development. Now, all 4 of those, as an example, are heavily impacted by this model because when you think about what your primary goals are in life, I guarantee you they're going to fall within one of these levels within the pyramid. This is an important realization because that will change your perspective on your goal setting. If your goal is primarily falling within, shall we say, phase 1, you're going to be focused on that survival instinct. You're going to be trying to get the basics, getting the money in to maybe secure a home or to find enough money to get food, whatever the basic need may be that is driving your focus. So that goal is going to have to be carefully crafted to suit and meet those needs. There's also motivation, and I would argue motivation comes after you set your goal, not before. That's your motive for your goal. Very interesting concept. So motivation, how does this motivate you? Well, I think we instinctively try to climb up the pyramid, and the goal here would be to reach self-actualization. That's sort of the highest level of existence, where we are living in our full potential. We have to climb up the pyramid in order to reach the highest level. So the question is how? How can we make this climb more effective? How can we get ourselves up this transition with the smoothest possible process? Well, it comes back to our decisions, doesn't it? We have to make wise decisions at each level in order to get us to effectively move up the ranks. Because at the end of the day, we all would like to be the best versions of ourselves. And I think when we reach the highest level of potential, we are comfortable with who we are and we're able to do things without getting bogged down by the basics of the earlier phases. We're comfortable with our growth, we're able to achieve our goals, we're able to help those around us to also achieve their goals, and overall, we're pretty good human beings. We get things done. Now, talking about the last one here, development, there is an added benefit of this model, which is that of stress. So if you're feeling a lot of stress, there is a very good chance that it could be because of one of these lower levels within the model. How do we solve these lower levels? Well, that means taking a proactive step, taking some time, sitting and reflecting. What is the best way to solve these core problems? How could you better meet your physiological needs? How could you quickly meet your safety needs and climb your way up the ranks? Now, of course, these problems are not simple to solve. It takes a lot of strategy and careful thinking and planning, studies and education and learning and job and money to successfully climb these ranks. But I think just the ability to recognize where you are, what is causing your stress, where your decisions are focused on, can help you realize maybe it's temporary. In that moment, you're trying to solve these problems, but over time, you're able to climb up the ranks and achieve greater things. Temporary transition, but very important. Stay focused on the bigger goal, which is reaching the best version of yourself. Self-fulfillment, that's the end goal, isn't it? Well done, you've made it through. That was Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Hopefully you found that content useful. Stay tuned for another. Subscribe if you haven't already, and hopefully enjoy the next topic as well. I'll see you on the next video.